New tonight, a Florida congressman is asking for answers after our year-long waiting for rebuild investigation. He wants details about the federal government's oversight of billions of dollars of your taxpayer money.
It is intended to help those whose homes were devastated by hurricanes. Congressman John Rutherford sent this letter to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that oversees the funds. He is asking HUD, what's the process to make sure the funds are being properly used?
For the past year, 10 Investigates Jennifer Titus has exposed questionable spending and broken promises. Families who were told their new homes would take months, tonight still living in hotel rooms as the deadline to complete them continues to be pushed back.
So this is home.
Yes.
This mom of four has been living in a hotel room.
This is home for us. This is my son's little area. Over here is my daughter's area. He's a little more together than she is, believe it or not. He's a little more organized.
Katoya Wright says she initially signed up in 2018. Then 3 years later, she got her official paperwork from Rebuild Florida.
They told us 6 months to a year.
Waiting 6 years for her home, time feels like it's at a standstill.
It's really hard, because they're kids. So you don't want them running, you don't want them talking too loud. I get so emotional talking about the holidays, the birthdays. It's all spent here, and so you feel like you have nowhere to really go.
10 Investigates spent nearly a year going over the program's contracts. From Katoya's to Jane Moore's in Tampa to Brenda Hughes in Clearwater, what we uncovered? Questionable contractor spending, scope of works doubling, tripling, even quadrupling. At one point, the former Secretary of Economic Opportunity even reached out to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, saying there wasn't enough money to complete all the homes.
It's taxpayers' money.
We sent our findings to the Project on Government Oversight, a nonpartisan watchdog group.
It is simply insufficient when it comes to real robust oversight, which is what's needed here.
And then there are the mounting hotel bills. Mary Simpson stayed in a hotel for almost a year. Jane Moore says she and her partner were in a hotel for 433 days. For Katoya Wright, it's been 3 years.
That is necessities for right now, and that's kind of all you can fit in here.
So how much is all of this costing? Katoya's room averages $120 a night. You multiply that by just 30 days, the state is paying over $3,000 a month for the rights to stay here, all while the state refused to allow them to just rent a home. A quick look at what's available in their neighborhood is far below the cost of a hotel stay.
It's 4 bedrooms. And so it's supposed to be 2 full baths.
The Wrights met us in their neighborhood to see the construction. This is Katoya.
Hey, Katoya. Hi, how are you, Senator Jones?
We also had State Senator Chevron Jones meet us there. Katoya's home is in his district.
The state, we owe her an apology. I also think we owe it to these individuals to follow through on what we said that we were going to do. And the fact that she's been in this predicament for 7 years, it falls on the state. When
10 Investigates reached out to Senator Jones, we sent him the same email we sent to every single senator in Florida, asking about the delays in the multi-million-dollar state-run program. Those that got back to us all said they were unaware.
How is that possible that this went on for so long and no lawmaker is aware of this?
You know what's crazy? If we don't hear from the constituents and they don't share that this is happening, now that I know, now we're going to do something about it.
2 days after this interview, Senator Jones sent this letter to Secretary Kelly, an urgent request for an audit of the Rebuild Florida contract with IEM. That's the third-party contractor that won a $252 million deal with the state to oversee all of the rebuild projects. When we reached out to IEM back in May, they refused to do an on-camera interview and answer questions. Instead, a PR agency sent us this video of CEO Brian Kuhn.
We won't be satisfied until we have resolved every possible unsettled problem.
Brian, is there weeks?
Sure. The request that went into the president today will have 3 components.
10 Investigates learned Kuhn was the former director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management when Hurricane Irma hit. Now, he's CEO of the company that even Secretary Kelly says is falling short.
If our contractor signed off on something as complete, and if it's not actually consistent with the work, if in other words, if they're essentially lying and they're saying something is complete but it's not complete, that could be an actual case of fraud.
He told us that the state has withheld money from IEM for not finishing deadlines on time. He questioned their organization of contracts after we showed him those mounting hotel bills, and he also says he was unaware of the homeowner's complaints, saying although the complaint form is on the state's website, the messages were all filed off to IEM to handle.
They're saying they were contacting IEM pretty consistently. They were very happy to see one of our staff or hear from one of our team giving them a phone call. But they are pretty consistently telling us that they've left messages for IEM, not gotten phone calls back for some time.
After this interview, he told us the state would be launching a fraud investigation over the inaccuracies. But then later, the state told us the contractor resolved the issue.
This is simply people weren't watching.
IEM's contract ended with the state on July 25th. The company says about 95% of the projects have been completed.
I feel trapped, lied to, deceived.
And now with a new disaster recovery agency in charge,
This has been life-changing.
Katoya once again has a new caseworker.
Did you ever think that 7 years later, this is where you would be?
Oh God, no. Never imagined that this is where I would be.
When Jen met Katoya, she said her home was supposed to be done by October. That deadline is now November 30th. The journey does not stop there. 10 Investigates takes a deeper dive into rebuild programs across the country. How the state's lack of accountability has wasted your taxpayer dollars and created a backlog of people waiting to get back home. You can watch the Waiting for Rebuild special streaming right now on 10 Tampa Bay Plus.